Okay, guys, so today we're going to convert from one unit to another, and we're just going to stick with, for today, length. And then we'll do volume and then all sorts of different kinds of dimensions. But right now, we're just looking at converting in length in terms of yards to inches, feet to miles, and then convert from one system to the other system. All right, so what I put up here on the screen are the steps that you want to follow when you're doing this. Will you guys be quiet? All right, first one is you want to change feet into inches. All right, so I've got your feet and your inches. Those are called your customary measures. Now, guys, if you look up here real quick, when you're using this, you can write it either way. You could write 1 foot is to 12 inches, or you could write it as, depending on the problem, 12 inches is to 1 foot. It doesn't matter. What determines which one of these you use is what you start with. So if I'm starting with 21 feet, I write that beginning amount as a ratio. So I start with whatever I'm given and I write it as a ratio. Ratio is just another word for a fraction. All right. Then I go to my conversion factor. So in this case, the conversion factor I'm using is right here. Okay, then I decide which one of these do I want to use, the feet over inches or inches over feet. Okay, you're going to use the conversion factor by placing the unit that you started with on the bottom. We started with feet, so I automatically know that I want feet to be in the denominator, so I'm going to use this form of it. Okay, so 12 goes there, feet goes there, and then cross out units, making sure that you set up the ratios correctly. So if your units don't cross out, then you did something wrong. So I have a feet and one in the top, one in the bottom. That allows me to cross it out. And then multiply the numbers on the top. Okay, 21. Go 21 times 12. Okay, and then divide by the numbers on the bottom. Well, the number on the bottom is just 1. So I'm not dividing really by anything. All right, so now I just got 21 times 12. All right, and I end up with 252 and my label, inches. Okay, now probably the most common types of conversions you do is when you got to go from metric to English or English to metric. Okay, so here we're going 30 inches to centimeters. So I know I got 30 inches, write it as a fraction. Now I automatically know that whatever I write next is got to have inches in the denominator. All right. Now, here's your inches to centimeters. There's this one right here, and there's this one. Okay, it really doesn't matter which one you use as long as you put the inch value in the correct space. All right, so I could use the 1 over this. Okay, or I could, so for example, I've got inches. If I took this one right here and I wrote it as 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters, the inches is in the wrong space. So I could take this and write it like this instead. I could use this one instead. It doesn't matter. Okay, or this one right here has inches in the denominator. So it wouldn't matter which one of these I used, I'd get the same answer. This right here would give me the same answer as if I did that. They're really just the same thing. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. Okay, even though we're changing inches into centimeters, you really just need to know one of these lists. You really don't need to have both lists. Okay? As long as you get the labels right. All right, so just to be consistent, we're going inches to centimeters, so I might as well use customary to metric. Okay, so that's my inches, that's my centimeters. I got to make sure that I have, I'm sorry, customary. Oh, I've got these back. Oh, well, doesn't matter. I've got to put these so that one of the inch one is on the bottom, whether I use this one or if I use this, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so I'm actually going to use this. So 1 inch is the same as 2.540 centimeters. Okay. You would get, I'll just put it over here. You would get the exact same answer as if you did this. 30 inches is to 1 as if I use the other ratio. 1 centimeter, 3937 inches. 3937, 1 centimeter. These are going to give you the same answer. So the point I'm trying to tell you is it wouldn't matter. Cancel, cancel. This, I just multiply the two. Times 2.5. 76, 2, and that's centimeters. And if I did this one, whoops. This one would be 30 divided by this. See, they're the same answer. Yes. So miles to kilometers, miles to kilometers. Yeah. But yeah, as long as like when we do this one, so we got miles on the top. Okay, so I know I want to have miles on the bottom. Okay. So now I'm going to take, I could put 1 on the bottom and 1.6 on the top, Hannah, or I could put 1 on the top and 0.6214 on the bottom. Follow me? It's whatever, yeah. So really, I really could have just said, you know what, just use one of these. and it wouldn't matter, okay? I wanted to put them up there because you usually see them both ways, okay? But really, they're the same once you set up this guy here. Good question. All right, so this. Okay, so 1 is going to go on the bottom, and 1.6093. Kilometers. Now that's just the multiplication. Multiply the numbers on the top, divide them by the numbers on the bottom, which are just 1, so there's nothing. Okay, so this is going to be 370.139. Now, every year, and it doesn't matter which math class it is, people really struggle with rounding. Okay, so real quick refresher here. When you've got a decimal point, tenths, yeah, so the only thing that makes it different is that there's not a ones place. Hundredths, thousands, and so on. All right, when you round, if it's saying round to the nearest hundredth, when you're done, if I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, to start, I need 3 decimals, because this is 2 decimal places. So to figure out what to do, I got to have 3 of them. This is what I look at. Okay, so if this number is 5 or bigger, then this guy is going to get rounded up. Okay, if this number is less than 5, then this stays the same. So you always need one more digit than you're rounding to, and that tells you what to do. Okay, so when I put a little arrow here, that's the number I'm looking at. And that tells me to take that 3 and move it up. And now my last digit is going to be in the hundredths place, which it is. 37 and 14 hundredths. And we're talking kilometers. Okay. So now you could figure out, like if you ran a 10K, races are all done in metric, 800 meter, 1600 meter race, 3200 meter race, 10K, 5K. Well, if you convert those into miles, what's a 10K close to? So if you're going to go run a 10K, that's 10 kilometers. Okay. So I'm going to take that kilometer and change it into a mile. Okay. So a kilometer into a mile. So what most people do when they're just doing it in their head is use 0.6. But we'll be real accurate here. .6214. Most people just use 0.6. 14. 0.6214. This is 1 kilometer. It's miles. So it's going to be about 6 miles when I take 10 and multiply it by that. So it's like 6.2 miles. So if you're running a 5K, okay, it's going to be half of that. It's just a little bit over 3 miles. Okay. Okay. All right. So we got 17 meters. So I know my next line here, I want to have a meter in the bottom. Okay. So, all right. So I can use either one of these. There's yards and meters. So again, it wouldn't matter. Yes. Okay. See you, Andre. Okay. So it doesn't, like I said, it wouldn't matter as long as you put these numbers in the correct space. So meters, we're going yards to meters. So I can put 1 yard. And then I would put this decimal in the denominator. Oh, 91.44. So if I end up with that, that tells me I'm dividing. Okay. So now I'm going to divide that out. What are you doing? Yeah. There's, yeah, I think I'm going to be changing your seat over there doing whatever comes to your mind. Well, good. But that doesn't let you get up and walk around and visit. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. It wouldn't matter one way or the other. It's just not something that you do. All right. So then that's going to leave us with 1859. And I got to go to 3 places. Look at the 1, leave the 9 alone. Okay, and then this would be, we'd be left with okay, feet to meters. So either one of these will work. Doesn't matter which one I use. 1 meter, 328 feet. 1, 3, 2, 8 feet. So that my feet cancel. And to solve this, I'm going to end up dividing. Two, 1, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, now what you're doing on these is you got kilometers and you want to change it miles per hour. So these are the same. So really all this problem is the same as going from kilometers and just change it to miles, because these two units are the same. Now on the back, they're not. Okay, so on the back, let's say when we do this, you're going to see like take that and now change it into like meters per second. That's going to be different. But since the time is the same, you're really just doing this. Okay, so 78 kilometers. And I want kilometers in the denominator. Miles is going to be up top. Okay, so kilometers and miles, either one. 1.69. Right? Miles. Is it backwards? Oh, yep, you sure did. I sure did. Okay, got to have kilometers on the bottom. Miles on the top. So that's a division. 348. This is going to be miles. And so now I can write this as miles per hour. So you'll notice both of these, like on your speedometer, in case you're driving in Canada or Mexico and you want to be sure that you're going on the speed limit. All righty. So here all we got to do is just take the mile and change it into kilometers. Cancel. And there I go. Per hour. We want to go from 13 yards, and when we're done, end up with centimeters. So I know the first one I'm going to use has got to have yards in the denominator. So I know I'm going to use this guy first. Now that tells me my next one has got to have inches in the denominator. So I can use this one right as it's written. I just go through and start canceling. And I'm left with yes. Yeah, go ahead. Right? So centimeters to yards. So I know I want to have centimeters in the denominator. Okay, so I'm going to have to use this one, but flip it. So I'm going to write it as 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters times. And now I know I want inches in the bottom. So I'm going to use this second, but I got to flip it so that I have inches in the right spot. Okay, when you do this on your calculator, be sure you put your denominator in parentheses because you want the calculator to multiply these two, then do the division. Yards. Okay. So once you get a handle of it, unit analysis, pretty straightforward. All right. Now you can have chains of conversions. This one's got 3 conversions in it. Right? So I got to have miles. Oh, this one's just what I need. I got to have feet in the denominator. Oh, right there. Now I know I got to have inches in the denominator. So I use this guy first. Second. Third. Now I'm just going to multiply all these guys. Yeah. 5 times. The order in which I wrote these? No. Well, no, it doesn't. You don't, it doesn't matter because when you multiply numbers, the order in which you multiply them doesn't matter. So yeah, you don't, as long as the labels cancel out, the order doesn't change how the labels cancel. Okay. 5. Short. Oh, I only got it in centimeters. Oh, I know what I did. I changed this to centimeters. Otherwise, we'd have to keep going. That's right. Change that. I forgot to tell you. So it's going to be like 80,000 centimeters. Okay, almost done. Got to have CMs in the denominator. So I'm going to use this first, but I'm going to flip it. I got to have inches in the denominator. Use this guy second and flip it. Feet in the denominator. So now use this guy and flip it. And I'm talking about yards. And we talked about a yard being the length of King Henry's hand from the tip of his finger to his nose. That was a yard. Okay, last one. Go from miles per hour to feet per second. All right, so now we got to change two labels. 225 miles over 1 hour. Miles. Okay, so it's the miles I'm going to change. So if I'm looking at these, see, I could use my hour, my mile, get rid of one of these at a time. So I'm going to do the mile first. It wouldn't matter. You could do the hour first. So I could use this one first. Or I could have used this one first and then flipped it. That's going to give me 1 hour. Whoops. Let's see, I got hours. I want to get my hours out of there. So I want hours to be on the top so I can get rid of it. So miles are gone. I'm left with feet. That's what I want. Now the hours are gone. And remember, I want to end up with feet in the top and seconds in the bottom. So this last one, I'm going to write minutes on the top, so the minutes cancel, and seconds on the bottom. So the only thing left is feet and seconds. Yeah, 330 feet per second. All right, guys. So the Math Excel that goes with these notes is really straightforward. They're going to be just like this. Okay. Now there was a Math Excel yesterday, so what I did was I moved the one that goes with today's is going to be due on Tuesday, and the one that went with yesterday's is due on Monday. Right? These notes are being turned in. These are notes that I collect when we take the test. So you keep all the packets that I give you, eventually you can staple them together. And then I grade those. All right, guys, up here real quick. The one that we were doing that belonged with yesterday, that'll be due on Monday. That's 10 questions. This one right here, these are the notes that we just did today. So since I forgot to tell you about this one, I bumped this one over to it's due on Tuesday. That's the one that we just did.